What's up guys, macadii here, and today guys, week 3 of the PPL League where I am up against Jordan Ayres, coach of the Southampton Sneasels. Now if you guys enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like down below, I would really appreciate it. Before we start going into the team builder, I just wanted to note one thing. As you can see in front of us, we have a Shaman, which was not originally on our team, and I made a free agency change, which it's probably worth making you guys aware of. So originally, as you guys know, I did have Tangrowth and Basculin. What I've done is I've actually brought those two together, turned them into points, and then that gave me 15 points to then get Shaman. So I must admit, rip the dream of keeping Basculin on for the rest of the season, but he's done a good job so far, and Shaman is an absolutely fantastic mon, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity of being able to grab this guy because I was sort of looking for any potential FAs for quite a while, and noted, Shaman was still there, realised I could get it, and it was, it's such a good deal because it means that it gives me more speed, more power. I can still run this guy defensive, I can run him, Leech Seed. It just gives me a lot more options than Tangrowth was giving me, and fits my playstyle a little bit better. So we have the Shaman from now on. What we're going to do now though is run through what he could be potentially bringing, what I'm going to be bringing to try and answer for that, and then finally we're going to go into the battle. So unfortunately from at the minute we are 0 and 2 right now, but I would chalk it up to sort of issues with the draft itself. It hadn't really fitted what I would say was my playstyle, where I like to play quite offensively, keep them on their toes and stuff. It was a bit more bulky and passive, and I wasn't a particular fan of that, but now with these changes, I'm feeling a lot more confident and feel that it's a team that I can build a lot more easily around and actually, fit it to play my playstyle and really put pressure on people. So he has the Manaphy, which can be his Z user, which can use things like Z Rain Dance and things like that. We've got the Excadrill there, Sylveon, Amoonguss, Mega Sableye, Blaziken, Kyurem, and Electabuzz. So it's one of those weird teams where there's actually only 8 mons there, so we know that 6 out of those 8, so only 2 of those are going to be left behind. So it does make prep quite a bit easier, but they are very, very big, scary threats. Like Amoonguss Mega Sableye core is absolutely disgusting, and something I always hate facing Mega Sableye, so I made sure to have lots of different ways to answer to those. Blaziken is a absolutely spooky setup sweeper. It's got agility, it's got Swords Dance, it's just a very nasty thing to have to fight, and Z Rain Manaphy is also a very, very prominent threat. So the great thing that I did note from the start though is he actually has a very, very slow team. I've got lots of things that now break base 100 thanks to all the free agency changes that I've made, and that allows me to outspeed his Manaphy, and Electabuzz, which means that actually with some of these Pokemon I'm going to be outspeeding his entire team, and with one of my Scarf Pokemon I'm going to be outspeeding pretty much everything apart from a Scarf Electabuzz. So that's going to be really, really nice. I've got the advantage of speed over him, and also with these changes I've got a lot more power behind me, so I need to be wall breaking, I need to have fast ways to wall break, but also have a way to be able to take on any setup threats, including, as I said, Z Rain Dance Manaphy. So the first Pokemon I wanted to build the team around was the Shaman, because this Shaman set puts in a lot of work. I must admit, going into the battle, there's one change I wish I would have made, but I'll just note that in a second. So we've got a offensive Shaman with max speed, so we speed tie with Manaphy. I'm not the best at winning speed ties, but it definitely makes sense to be able to do that, and with Kyurem being at base 95 anyway, it doesn't take a huge many more EVs to be able to outspeed both, the Kyurem and speed tie with the Manaphy. So we have got the Seed Flare, which is the first thing I'm going to be mainly spamming out. His only real switch into this is Amoonguss, which I can play around. I've got the Psychic there to deal a good amount of damage, which unfortunately, when Mega Sableye does wall, later on I did realise actually probably Air Slash might have been a slightly more optimal move, just because I could click it versus the Mega Sableye. For example, if the Mega Sableye got the Spadef drop, rather than having to click Seed Flare again as he switches out, I could have gone for Air Slash, but anyway, that's by the by. You will see the difference that makes within the battle. We've then got the Dazzling Gleam, because I don't have to like being able to rely on Seed Flare, and Dazzling Gleam allows me to be 100% accurate and still bop things like the Blaziken, the Kyurem to a decent amount of damage, and also I guess you can still use Psychic on the Blaziken, but it's nice and neutral from there, and also it helps me versus the Mega Sableye, gives me a 100% accurate move, which is always very, very nice. Seed Flare also doesn't have the best PP in the world, so it's just a nice way in case the Sableye decides to try and PP stall me. The natural cure is there is going to be really great. I can switch into the Willows. If, let's see, if I get any School Buns from the Manaphy, stuff like that, I can easily take those, switch out from there, and get rid of them. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, next we got the Zygarde Doggo. Actually, I think that went in HP in the end. Had a bit of a change of heart on this one. Originally, I was sort of like a Life Orb Dragon Dance set with sub, but we realised sort of a little bit before the battle that actually that probably wasn't the most optimal set, considering the choice banded set with Earthquake. After, if I could, you know, weaken quite a few different things, I could easily 2-hit KO most of his team. So it's just a really, really nice wall breaker. Outspeeds his entire team, which is absolutely fantastic. 99% of the time, I'm going to be clicking that Earthquake there because all his team is grounded. He has nothing that really appreciates a choice banded Earthquake there. We've then got the Outrage, which, you know, once the Sylveon's out of the way, might be worth clicking. You know, it kind of depends on the situation. The Extreme Speed gives me some nice priority. And then 1,000 Waves just because sort of most of the time I'll be clicking Earthquake. 1,000 Waves is mainly situational, just to potentially if I want to trap something on the switch in, for example, if it's Amoonguss is his best switch in, and I decide to sack off Zygarde, knowing that an Earthquake's not going to kill, I can 1,000 Waves, trap it, then I can go into something else as it tries to retaliate or does something, and then I can go and bop it from there. Or if I sacrifice Zygarde by spamming 1,000 Waves till it kills me, then I can go into, say, my Mega Pinsir and set up from there. Then we got the Mega Pinsir, which is... oh, apologies for that, guys. I've still got a bit of a cough going on here. A sub Swords Dance set, so this is designed to be able to sub up on the Mega Sableye. It could be a Power Gem Mega Sableye, but I'm kind of leaning towards him having Willow. I can also force switches potentially with things like the Amoonguss, and I just pressure a lot of his team. I outspeed everything apart from Speed Tie and the Electabuzz, so I didn't see a huge amount of point to Quick Attack. I thought Substitute and Swords Dance is the better bet for this matchup because I'm expecting a Scarf Excadrill to most likely check me, and even a +2, a Quick Attack's not going to be doing a huge amount. So I figured that's probably the best way to go is to, you know, get a free sub up on the Mega Sableyes at Willows, or potentially a Amoonguss if it wants to go for a Spore, and we can then bop some stuff from there. Next we got the Nihilego, and for some reason, typical Showdown, I swear it's something to do with me with playing. Don't worry, in the game it was absolutely fine, but for some reason for me, Showdown decides to mess up EVs for some crazy reason. But anyway, we have got a Nihilego set, which is a choice Scarf set, because this allows me to outspeed everything on his team apart from the Electabuzz. His best bet to be able to check me is the Excadrill, just because that can switch into the Power Gems and the Sludge Waves if he decides not to bring that, or I can use, you know, Shaman and Doggo and stuff like that to really weaken the Excadrill and take it out, or I predict with a HP Fire and get rid of it. Then Nihilegos are really, really great cleaner because I can just spam either Sludge Wave, or I can even click Power Gem versus a lot of his team. Once that Excadrill is out of the way, it just makes my life so much easier, and this guy is going to be a great one to keep in the back pocket as a potential revenge killer. Next we got Vaporeon with the Rindo Berry. So this is designed to handle a Z Rain Dance Manaphy. So if he goes to the Rain Dance, I can go into Vape. He goes to the Tail Glow, I roar him out, or if he wants to go for a Energy Ball or something like that, I can still get rid of him from there. It also stops any setup like Calm Mind Sylveon, you know, set up Blaziken, and allows me to sort of bounce off Mega Sableye, which could be quite fun. So could be quite interesting. You know, if he expects me to roar, you know, Sableye comes out, I roar and get sent into something else. Most of my Pokemon have got a fairly decent matchup, apart from obviously Good Boy against him. So you know, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to be roared out from there. And then finally we got the Delphox, which is another Pokemon which outspeeds most of his team, which is absolutely fantastic. And this is going to be one of my main wall breakers, another way to break that annoying Mega Sableye and Amoonguss core. It's a sub-calm mindset with the Fire MZ, which has got enough special attack and does enough damage to be able to kill standard Mega Sableye, a +1 with a Z Fire Blast. That's going to be really nice. The Psyshock there allows me to take on Sylveon, do some damage to, I guess, Amoonguss if I don't want to risk the miss, and also to Manaphy, and just most other things, really. I think, most of his team, yeah, all of his team neutrally with this combination, which is very, very nice. And as I said, at +1, it's going to be very, very spooky, especially if I can get up behind that sub. So that's the team that I've got, and what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to the battle, and you can see what happened from there. Okay, so now we're at the battle, and as you can see, one Pokemon he decided not to bring, which I thought was absolutely huge for me, was the Excadrill. So the Excadrill not being there meant several things. First of all, it meant no rocks, which is absolutely great. Mega Pinsir very much appreciates that, so does Delphox, and just basically my entire team, really. I always like it when I know for a fact I don't have to worry about hazards being on my side of the field, and all of that good stuff. On top of that as well, it was his best check really to a Mega Pinsir was like a Scarf, Excadrill or something like that. And also, as I said, it checked my Nihilego very, very well. So having that not being there is going to be really nice. If I can wear down that Mega Sableye, I can just spam out those Sludge Waves, do a huge amount of damage from there. And also I can just, you know, throw out some Power Gems each time. He's got nothing that's really can take that particularly well. And especially if they're slightly weakened. So very, very excited on my part from the initial matchup. In terms of what I wanted to lead off with, I wanted something, I knew Mega Sableye was most likely going to lead, so I thought overall my best bet here was going to be the Shaman, just because I can put a lot of pressure on quite a few different things. I can 1v1, say, the Manaphy from lead, I can put a lot of pressure on the Electabuzz. I don't think he's going to be bringing up Sylveon into lead. The only thing would have been the Kyurem and the Amoonguss, but I could, you know, I could play around that without too much difficulty, so, you know, overall I thought Shaman was going to be the best bet. Also, as you can see, I've got a new layout for this. Let me know whether you want me to keep the layout or change it. It's something I've been sort of working on for a bit. I quite like the idea of an animated layout. It makes it look quite cool and fancy. But, you know, if you guys prefer it without the layout, just let me know, and we'll see from there. So, I'm going to click play here, and let's see what he decides to lead off with. Because as I said, I lead off with a Shaman here. And, you know, I can put a lot of pressure on that Mega Sableye if he decides to lead off with it, which would be really, really nice for us. So he leads off with Bounce, which obviously is the Mega Sableye out there. So that's going to be really nice for us. We can start doing a little bit of wall breaking, which is very nice. So straight off the bat, I decide, right, you know, let's just do our wall breaking. Let's just throw out a Seed Flare. If he decides to switch, that's absolutely fine by me. I can see what his best switch is. His best switch, as you can see, is the Amoonguss, like I expected. You know, if I get the Spadef drop here, very, you know, 30% chance to do that. You know, it would be quite nice, and I can just scout out, see what sort of spread this Amoonguss is. So it looks to be a max defense spread, approximately looking at that. I count it. His Sludge Wave is going to do about, Sludge Bomb is going to do about 50%, so I decide, you know, go for the Psychic, get a really nice amount of damage off to start with, which is going to be great, and he's going to want to keep this Amoonguss around, most likely, so I can just have a play around with that. So he goes for the Sludge Bomb, doing a little bit more than expected, might have a bit of special attack investment in there, and I decided to just go for the Synthesis here. It was my safest play. I can take another Sludge Bomb from there, but I am expecting him to switch as he goes back into the Sableye. So we're coming back up to a really nice amount of HP, and we've really weakened that Amoonguss straight off the bat, which is really nice. And this is what I wanted my Shaman to do, was just to weaken his Wall Core and put a lot of pressure on his team from there. So he does decide to stay in and Mega Up, and I was so happy by this, because now we can get a really good amount of damage on the Sableye and really, really put pressure on his team from the get-go, because now his two walls are going to be taking a load of damage from my Shaman straight off the bat. And while Amoonguss can get a little bit back, it's only going to be back at about 40% HP. We do get the special defense drop there, which is absolutely brilliant. And this is where the Air Slash would have come in really nicely. I could have gone for Air Slash here, because now I was like, do I go for Psychic, predicting the Amoonguss coming in, or do I just want to stay in, go for another Seed Flare, and just play it safe from there? So I think I decided here to go for another Seed Flare, just because, as I said, the Amoonguss is pretty low. I can bop it if it decides to switch in. He does go into Kyurem, so I'm like, okay, that's great. I can just get a really nice bit of damage on this Kyurem, which would be really, really great for me. Kind of mad I didn't click Dazzling Gleam, as unfortunately I do miss the Seed Flare, you know, which isn't great, but there's not a huge amount I can do. I do want to keep the Shaman around. I have no idea what this Kyurem's going to want to do, so I just play it safe, go into my Vaporeon here. I know this is going to bait out the Amoonguss, but I can, you know, get some switch in, potentially get some healing up from there. So I want to see what item this Kyurem is, because if this is Scarf, it's basically a game of trying to find out which one's the Scarfer at this point, to try and see what I need to watch out for. So he reveals the Life Orb there. That's going to be really nice for me. Most of my offense outspeeds this Kyurem, so while it does do a huge amount of damage to my team, I'm going to be outspeeding it most of the time, so I'm actually not too worried about that, which is absolutely great. So out comes the Amoonguss, back up to a good amount of HP because of annoying Regenerator. No item on us as well, and no EV, which indicates to me early on that it might be like a Flying Berry one, or something like that, because normally that's either Amoonguss will be an AV or Black Sludge or some kind of sneaky berry. So I go into Foxy Grandpa here because I'm not expecting the Spore, I'm expecting the Sludge Bomb in case I go out into that Shaman, because my Shaman was going to be my #1 switch there. So now I can get a free sub up on the Amogus, which is going to be absolutely beautiful, especially if it decides to stay in. He decides to go into Manaphy here, as I'm going to pull up a sub. So I know I can get some damage off here. I could either go for a 2 Psyshocks, or I could go for a Calm Mind, and then a Psyshock. I decided to go for Calm Mind here, because A, I didn't expect this to be Surf, but also then I could take 2 subsequent Surfs, because I would Calm Mind, he would break my sub, I could take another Surf from there, and that would allow me to get 2 Psyshocks off and kill the Manaphy if it was a max speed, max special attack set. Hence why I went for the Calm Mind here, but he does reveal to be Scarf here, and this is a really tricky point, because I was like, I'm sure he's going to switch out here. I've got my Shaman that can switch in, I've got my Vaporeon that can switch in, so I do decide to make the risky play, stay in. I know I can take the Surf, and I can get some good damage off on this anyway, so I do go for the Psyshock. There's no rocks that's going to be on the field, so I know I can always bring in this guy later on and just get a massive Fire MZ Z Fire move off from there. So that's why I decided to do that. He does decide to stay in, which is slightly surprising on my front, but now I can go into Shaman, and he does go for the Surf there, which is great for me. So now I've got my Shaman back in. I can either recover up if I want to, or I can go for a nice offensive attack. If I remember rightly, I think from here I just go for the Symphysis, because he's obviously Scarfed, locked into the Surf. He's not going to be doing too much to us. So he goes down to Kyurem here, as I get that recovery up, which is going to be really, really nice for us. And I need to decide what I want to do here. I could either go into Vaporeon, but now that is a Scarf Manaphy, I've got to be a little bit careful of that. And I know that my Vaporeon is going to be able to handle that pretty well. So I decide, you know what, we're going to sack off Delphox. It would be nice to get that Fire MZ damage off, but most likely it's going to be a difficult one to try and pivot him in. So let's get rid of this guy, save our Vaporeon, because it's going to be pretty useful. But he goes to the Toxic, and that is going to be absolutely beautiful for us, because we're going to live that Toxic damage, and we're going to be able to smack something with a Z Fire move, which is going to be absolutely beautiful. Now, both of us actually calced this, and we looked at it, and apparently from his spread, he was actually guaranteed to live this by the calcs. But, spoiler alert, he does actually die to this, which is really, really strange. I think it was doing like 186 max. We calced with his spread and my moves, but here was at 190. And for some reason, this still kills. So it's something we're a little bit unsure about. I don't know whether it was a level 50 thing. We may have accidentally calced it, not being at level 50. I'll have to double check that afterwards, but we do end up taking him out from there. So that's going to be great. Taking out that Kyurem, Foxy Grandpa putting in the work. Managing to get a really, really key amount of damage off on that Manaphy, because it brings it into Sludge Wave range. Sludge Wave range with Nihilego, which is going to be really good. And this means we can now go back out into our Shaman as he goes into Electabuzz. With our sort of natural bulk, we can take even a Specs HP Ice very well. So I decide just to stay in here, as he does go out to the Volt, go for the Volt Switch here, and we can just throw out another Seed Flare if we want to, and do some nice wall breaking from there. So he switches out and goes into Bounce. So that's going to be Bounce out the way. So that's really, really great. That's his Sludge Wave switch in, completely gone from there. So now Nihilego is looking absolutely beautiful late game. We might need to just try and find a way to get it in, and hopefully be able to we can Oko or Tuikyo everything else from there, and that will put us in an absolutely fantastic position. So now out comes the Manaphy. I do not want to risk losing this guy, so I decide to switch out here, and I go into my Vaporeon, just playing it a little bit safe. I know I've got a really good chance of winning this, because I've got the guy in the back. He hasn't really got much instead of setup, so I think I should be okay. He does go for U-turn here and goes out, I think if I remember rightly, into Barbara, which is going to be his Sylveon. So this gives me an opportunity to wish up, which is going to be really nice, and I can just see what he's going to do from there. Pulls up the sub, I see him, he's going to be trying to be doing a cheeky sub Calm Mind or something like that on me. Well, I can get the wish up. I know that even if he's like a Life Orb set, I've got a pretty good chance of living this, so I can just go for the Roar here, as he does go for the Hyper Voice just to get a bit of damage off on me. And the great thing about this is that he's max special attack, so Pinsir actually Okos this if it's just a max HP spread, which is what it looks like it's going to be. So that's actually, the sub has actually put it into a range where Mega Pinsir can bop it from there. So now we've got a little bit of wish protecting, where I'm trying to work out, has this guy got the Spore? If anything's going to be spored, it would probably be my Vaporeon that's going to be best, just because the Manaphy, when it's Scarfed, won't be able to do too much to me, and it will give me loads of turns to be able to come back up to a decent amount. He goes to the Sludge Bomb and poisons me, and that's a bit annoying, but it also gives me the advantage that actually he's probably not going to be able to But he's not going to be going for the Spore here, just in case he overpredicts, you know, and I just decide to stay in here. So what I'm terrified of is switching out and him going for the Spore and catching one of my offensive Pokemon from there. So I get all the way up, back up with my Wish. I expect him to expect me to just Wish here, and he's just going to go for another Sludge Bomb or a Giga Drain. Most likely a Giga Drain here, so I decide to switch out here and go into my Pinsir. I'm not expecting the Spore here, so I can go into my Swag Stag. I'm pretty sure he's got the Flying Berry. You know, I'd be willing to put money on it at this point, but it was my best bet. Just to, even if just a Wall Break this Amoonguss would be really nice, and if I can catch it off guard, pull up that cheeky sub, then I'm in a really, really great position from there. So I'm going to Mega Up, go for the Substitute just in case he wants to go for Spore, and see what he decides to do from there. Most likely, if he was going to be some sort of Hidden Power, he might be some sort of bait with Hidden Power Rock. So even if the Substitute does end up breaking, which he does here, he goes to the Hidden Power, most likely, as I said, Hidden Power Rock here. I'd have died to it most likely from there, depending on his spread, even if I'd not used the sub. So I don't think it would have made too much difference. So now I can go for the Frustration. He does eat the berry, confirming that he is the Flying Berry. But what it's going to do is it's going to bring it in range for my Nihilego to be able to kill it from there. And even if it then gets the Regenerator, I should be able to 1v1 it at +1, and it can't even switch in from there. So all it's done there is Swag Stag, I know, didn't get a kill, which is really, really sad. I really need to work on my Mega Pinsir game, but it is going to put it in the range where Nihilego will be able to potentially clean up from here, depending on whether I can Turkey this the Electabuzz as it comes in here. So he goes to the Electabuzz straight out here, as I decide to go for the Sludge Wave, my most powerful move. It's neutral to everything, and it looks like this is most likely going to be able to clean up, but it's just not going to be enough. And I decided, you know what, we're going to play it safe. I didn't know, I couldn't remember off the top of my head if it's got Earthquake or not, so I decided to just go Zydogue. I can take an Earthquake. I don't think he's going to go for the HP Ice here. He does just go for the Thunderbolt, so Zydogue's going to be able to come in here, you know, take out the Electabuzz, and then it's going to be Nihilego cleaning up from there. So as a pair, these two are going to be able to put in the finest of work, as I can take out the Electabuzz with that banded Earthquake, outspeeding his entire team apart from Manaphy, which is great, and I've got lots of switch-ins to Manaphy, and Nihilego can then go for the Ice Beam, so if he decides to go into that, I'll just let Zydogue go down, then I can go into my Nihilego and take it out from there. But out comes Barbara. I was like, well, I know this should do more than 50%, so I'm just going to go for the Earthquake, and it does end up taking it out. So Zydogue gets a couple of kills here, which is nice. A cheeky extra kill versus that Sylveon, who even needs Iron Tail, even though I found out that's actually illegal, which is really, really irritating, because Zydogue with Iron Tail would have been really, really nice this match, and also it doesn't get Pain Split. I do let the Manaphy, as I said before, Ice Beam me, take me out, because now, apart from if he gets the, actually no, because I won't even have to worry about the freeze, because I will outspeed. So now I can go into the Nihilego. This is the opportunity I need. If he stays in, he dies. If he switches out, something gets to it KO'd. Oh, I think there's the Amoonguss that's left. And I can 2-hit KO this, and then get the Beast Boost, and then it's basically game from there. So Nihilego is just going to clean up. Last few kills, which is going to be great. And that's going to be absolutely beautiful, because we are going to be able to KO this, take it out, and that is going to be game. So shout outs to Nihilego. I absolutely adore that mon, and the same with Zydogue as well. What I love about them is the fact I don't have to predict too much. I just play my game, set them up in the right way, you know, use bounce one off the other one. I can use my Zydogue to be able to weaken checks to Nihilego, and then go in, and Nihilego can just clean up from there. So absolutely fantastic mon. And, you know, a few things do wall it, but most of the things that wall it, Zydogue ends up walling anyway. So, yeah, really, really fun mon, and I'm looking forward to using it the rest of the season. And, yeah, so that is going to be game from there. We are going to finish up 3-0, if I remember rightly. So, absolutely fantastic match, Sean, and good luck with the rest of your matches. And, yeah, hope you guys did enjoy the match. We are now 1 and 2 right now. So, you know, we're bouncing back. I'm feeling a lot more confident with the squad, and hopefully we'll be able to get a few more wins from there. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, and I will see you guys later. Macadii out.